The unexpected. The planet. Viridian 5 was silent, once filled with life. Now it was nothing but ruins. Burned buildings, broken roads, and red dust covered everything like a dirty blanket. The war between humans and the Zorans had ended 10 years ago. The humans won, but at a cost. Captain Raylan Cross stepped off his small shuttle wearing his dusty armor and old helmet. He had been sent here by the Earth Alliance to scan for rare minerals. That's it. Nothing special. Another boring job. Or so he thought. His boots crunched against the dry ground as he walked through the ruins of what once was a city. The wind blew quietly, carrying whispers that sounded like voices from the past. His scanner beeped softly. No signs of life, no heat, no movement. But something felt wrong. Raylan reached a broken statue, once the symbol of Zoran pride. Now it lay cracked in half. He looked around. The scanner still showed nothing. Then, a small rock rolled across the ground. He turned quickly, hand on his blaster. Nothing. But then, out of the shadows, a figure slowly stepped forward. Small. Thin. Not human, a child. The alien child looked no older than 8 in human years. His skin was pale blue, his eyes large and glowing faintly. He wore a torn cloak and had dirt all over his face. Raylan raised his blaster. The child raised his hands. "No shoot! Please! No shoot!" Raylan's finger paused on the trigger. "What? You speak English?" The child nodded quickly. "Little bit, I watch." Raylan lowered his blaster slowly, but stayed alert. "What's your name?" The child hesitated. "Tiro." Raylan looked around. "Tiro. Are you alone?" Tiro shook his head. "No. My mama. She hide." Raylan stepped closer, his voice softer. "Where is she?" Tiro looked down, then up, again with wide, desperate eyes. "Please. Marry my mom. Human. She all I have left." Raylan blinked. "Wait. What did you just say?" "Please," the child begged. "She need help. You strong. You have ship. She is good. Kind. Please marry her. Save her." Raylan stared, confused and a little bit freaked out. "Kid, marriage isn't... Look, I don't even know you. Or your mom." Tiro grabbed his hand with surprising strength. "You must come. She's sick. She hide long time. People come, bad people, they take others. Only us now." Raylan pulled his hand back and looked around. The scanner still showed no signs of life. Was this child a trick, a trap? But something in the kid's eyes. The fear, the hope. It felt real. He sighed. "All right, take me to her. But no tricks, got it?" Tiro nodded fast. "No trick, promise." The child moved quickly, darting through narrow alleys and broken homes. Raylan followed carefully, eyes scanning the ruins. Every shadow looked like it could move. The deeper they went, the darker it got. Finally, they reached an old building half destroyed. Tiro squeezed through a crack in the wall. Raylan followed, his armor scraping against stone. Inside it was dark. But in the corner, lit by a small, glowing crystal, lay a tall alien woman. Her skin was the same pale blue, her body thin and weak. She opened her eyes slowly when she saw Raylan. "Tiro," she whispered. "Who is this?" "He is human," the child said proudly. "He will save us." Raylan took off his helmet, revealing his tired face. "Name's Raylan. Your son brought me here, said you needed help." The woman tried to sit up, then coughed. "We don't need charity." "You sure about that?" Raylan asked, looking at the cracked walls and nearly empty food supplies. "You're barely alive, and your kid's asking strangers to marry you." The woman looked away, ashamed. "He's just scared. We both are." There was silence. Then, outside, a sound echoed. Footsteps, heavy ones, not human. Raylan grabbed his blaster and moved to the wall. His scanner now beeped like crazy. Something was out there. He looked at the mother and child. "Anyone else know you're here?" The woman shook her head. Tiro held Raylan's arm. "They come back. They look for us." Raylan cursed under his breath. "Then we've got a problem." The Alien Widow. The sound outside was growing louder. Raylan pressed his back to the wall, his blaster aimed at the doorway. His scanner blinked red now. Something big was moving nearby, and it wasn't friendly. Tiro held tightly onto his mother's hand. She winced as she sat up, trying to stay quiet. Her breathing was shaky, but her eyes, deep violet and sharp, were focused. Raylan whispered, "Is there another way out of here?" The alien woman nodded weakly toward a tunnel near the back. "Old supply route, but it's unstable." "Great," Raylan muttered. "My favorite kind of escape." "The deadly kind." He looked at Tiro. "All right, kid, you lead. Quietly. Don't talk unless we need to." Tiro nodded and helped his mother up. Raylan kept his blaster up, eyes never leaving the dark hallway. As they entered the tunnel, the footsteps outside stopped. Too quiet. Raylan activated a small light on his shoulder as they moved deeper into the underground passage. The walls were old and cracked, metal beams bent from explosions long ago. Every step echoed like a whisper of ghosts. The mother limped beside him, using the wall for support. "You should have left us," she said quietly. Raylan kept walking. "Well, your kid's very persuasive. Also, I'd feel bad ignoring a marriage proposal." She gave a small smile despite her pain. "He doesn't understand. He thinks you're a hero." "I'm just a miner with a fancy gun," Raylan said. "But I've been called worse." They moved deeper until the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. This place was untouched, covered in strange alien symbols and glowing roots growing from the walls. Raylan looked around. "This isn't just a tunnel. What is this place?" The woman hesitated. "A temple, old Zoran tech. My ancestors believed it had power. During the war, we used it as a shelter." Raylan turned to her. "You used the word we. Who were you before all this?" She didn't answer immediately. She sat down on a stone bench, breathing heavily. Then finally she said, "I was Commander Sarala of the Zoran Defense Fleet." Raylan froze. "Wait, you were in the war?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. I fought humans. Killed some. Lost more." Raylan's hand twitched near his blaster. "Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" "Would you have helped us if I had?" she asked, locking eyes with him. They stared at each other in silence. Then, Tiro tugged Raylan's sleeve. "Please, don't leave us." Raylan sighed and looked away. "I don't leave people behind. Doesn't matter who they used to be." Walked toward a strange panel on the wall, glowing faintly. "What's this?" Sarala's eyes widened. "Don't touch it." Too late. Raylan's fingers brushed the surface, and the panel lit up fully. Suddenly the floor vibrated. Tiro backed away in fear. "What you do?" Raylan pulled back his hand. "I didn't know it was going to do that." The panel projected a small hologram in the air. It was a map of the ruins above. But more importantly, it showed movement. Red dots, dozens of them, moving toward the temple. "Patrol bots," Sarala whispered. "They found us." Raylan checked his scanner. "They'll be here in 20 minutes tops. We need to move." But Sarala wasn't listening. She was staring at another part of the map. A building deep underground marked in green. "That's impossible." "What?" Raylan asked. "That's a human research lab, hidden beneath Zoran soil. It was supposed to be destroyed." "Maybe it wasn't," Raylan said. "Could it help us?" Sarala nodded slowly. "If it's still active, and it might have med supplies, weapons, on even a working transport." Raylan looked at her. "Then we head there." "But the way is dangerous," she said. "It's sealed, guarded by machines. Even we couldn't control them." Raylan shrugged. "I don't like easy jobs anyway." Before they could plan more, a loud boom echoed above. Dust fell from the ceiling. The bots were close now. Raylan grabbed Sarala's arm. "We need to move, now." They followed, the temple's inner path deeper underground. The lights flickered, the walls hummed with old power. Tiro stayed close to Raylan, his eyes wide with fear. Raylan glanced at Sarala. "Why does your kid trust humans so much?" She smiled sadly. "His father was human." Raylan almost tripped. "Wait, what?" "He was part of a peace mission, long before the war ended. We met in secret. He tried to stop the fighting." Raylan was silent for a moment. "What happened to him?" Sarala's voice broke. "He died, saving us." Tiro looked down, holding her hand tighter. As they reached a heavy door, Raylan scanned it. It showed signs of human tech, old, but still alive. He looked back. "Ready?" Sarala nodded. "We go together." Raylan placed his hand on the scanner. The door hissed, gears grinding after years of silence. Inside, a long metal hallway filled with flickering lights and broken screens. The lab was real, but it was not empty. A low mechanical growl echoed from deep inside. Something was awake, something that did not want visitors. Secrets in the dust. The door slammed shut behind them with a loud metallic hiss. Raylan spun around, checking the panel. Locked, from the outside. "Good," Sarala said, her eyes scanning the corridor ahead. "That means whatever was chasing us can't follow." Raylan wasn't so sure. The hallway ahead of them stretched long and cold. The air was stale, heavy with dust and old memories. Human writing lined the walls, faded, but readable. Section B, Research and Containment, Authorized Personnel. Only. Tiro's voice broke the silence. "What's this place?" Raylan looked around. "It's a ghost ship buried underground." Sarala gently touched a nearby screen. "No, it's where they built monsters." Raylan raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean by monsters?" Sarala's face was pale. "Before peace talks started, some humans experimented on Zorans. They wanted super soldiers, weapons with brains. They called it Project Lazarus." Raylan's stomach turned. "I've heard that name, but it was buried in top-secret files." "They buried it," she said, "because they were ashamed." Tiro looked between them, confused and scared. "Are there monsters here now?" Raylan knelt beside him. "We'll protect you, but you stay close, no matter what." They moved forward slowly. The lights flickered as if waking from a long sleep. The deeper they went, the stranger everything felt. Broken glass, scorch marks. Doors welded shut, and then something unexpected. A voice, calm, human, familiar. "Welcome back, Dr. Elias." Raylan froze. "What did it just call me?" he whispered. Sarala looked up at the ceiling. "That's the lab AI. It thinks you're someone else." "Access granted," the voice continued. "Vitals confirmed. You have aged significantly." Raylan narrowed his eyes. "It thinks I'm someone who used to work here." Tiro tugged his sleeve. "What if you are?" Raylan gave him a sideways look. "What, like I'm a clone or something?" He paused. "Actually, don't answer that." As they passed through the lab's checkpoint, the facility seemed to come alive. Lights brightened, machines hummed, screens flickered on, showing data logs in fast motion. Sarala stopped at one screen. Her hand shook. Project Lazarus, Test Subject. 17. Status, Terminated Name, Dr. Elias Cross assigned. Partner, Commander Sarala. Vex Raylan stared at the name. "That's my last name." Sarala said nothing. Her face was pale as ice. "You knew him," Raylan said slowly. "The scientist, the one you fell in love with. That was Elias Cross." She nodded. "He was kind, brave, and very human." Raylan backed away from the screen. Wait, what are the chances that I have his face and name and just randomly showed up here? You're not him, she said firmly. But you might be connected. Tiro looked up, confused. Is he my father? Sarala looked like someone had just stabbed her heart. No, she whispered. But he may be the only reason we're still alive. Before anyone could respond, a loud metal clang echoed down the hallway. Something heavy. Something big. There. Lights flickered again. Raylan raised his blaster. That didn't sound like a cleaning bot. They turned a corner, entering a large chamber. Inside was something even stranger. A cryopod, still active. Inside it, floating in pale blue mist, was a copy of Raylan's identical face, slightly younger. Worn lab coat with Dr. Elias Cross stitched on it. Tiro gasped. Sarala stepped back. Raylan just stared. What the hell? Then the AI spoke again. Reanimation protocols active. Memory core stabilizing. Elias, Cross. Consciousness sync, 81%. The man inside the pod suddenly opened his eyes. They glowed faintly. Raylan pointed his blaster. Okay, now I'm freaking out. The cryopod hissed open. The figure stepped out slowly, weak but standing. I remember you, the man said, his voice distant. Sarala. And me? Sarala stepped forward, breath caught in her throat. Elias? I'm not the same, the clone said. Not fully him. I'm data stitched together, a backup, a plan B. Raylan didn't lower his weapon. So what now? You run the place? The clone looked around. No, I was asleep because something went wrong. He turned to them. Something else woke up before me. Raylan frowned. What kind of something? The floor shook. Sarala whispered. Lazarus subject Narazo 1. The first experiment. The clone continued. We created a hybrid. Half Zoran, half human, in full rage. It escaped. It stayed dormant for years. Until now. Suddenly, alarms blared. Warning, containment breach, sublevel 4. Subject Narazo 1 active. Raylan's eyes widened. Please tell me that's not the floor we're on. Elias nodded grimly. It is. The lights died. In the darkness, something growled. Deep. Inhuman. Shadow moved fast across the far wall. Large. Crawling. Breathing heavily. Tiro screamed. Raylan shouted, Run! Now! They fled down a narrow corridor, dodging sparks and falling metal. Behind them, something chased. Claws scraping steel, growling with fury. Sarala shouted over the noise. It can't be killed by normal weapons. It's designed to adapt. Raylan fired a shot behind him. It bounced off metal. The creature roared louder. What can kill it? He yelled. Elias replied. Us. Raylan glanced back. Excuse me? We made it. We're the key. But we have to get to the core room. Tiro tripped. Raylan scooped him up mid-run. You better hope that core room has a big red off button, or this is going to be a really short family reunion. The creature roared and the alarms blared. The group disappeared down the hallway, racing against a monster they helped create and a past they thought was dead. Ghosts of war. The corridor shook again, dust and sparks falling like angry stars. Raylan held Tiro tight as they ran, the sounds of metal-clawed footsteps echoing behind them. Left, Elias shouted. Core room's this way. Sarala limped behind, hand pressed to her ribs. She was wounded, but her focus was locked ahead, not on her pain. They burst into another hallway, this one wider, brighter. Old security drones lined. The walls powered down but watching with cold, empty eyes. Raylan skidded to a stop. Okay, wait. You said the monster can't be killed by weapons, so how do we stop it? Elias, still shaky from his pod awakening, pointed toward the far door. We built a kill switch, a DNA-linked lockdown. Only I, or someone with my genetic code, can activate it. Raylan blinked. So, you mean me? Possibly, Elias said, eyeing him curiously. You and I might be closer than you think. Before, Raylan could ask what the hell that meant. The alarms shifted. New alert. Unauthorized presence detected. Internal security engaged. Suddenly, the security drones lit up, eyes red. Tiro clutched Raylan's armor. What's happening? Sarala hissed. The AI thinks we're intruders. Raylan raised his blaster. Of course it does, because this place is just one big bad idea wearing a lab coat. The drones dropped from the wall, hovering and aiming glowing stun cannons. Raylan pushed Sarala and Tiro behind cover. Get down! He fired. Sparks flew. The drones returned fire, zapping the air with electric pulses. Elias ducked behind a console, pulling out a hidden override chip. I can shut them down, but I need time. Time, Raylan grunted, is something we are constantly short on. He sprinted across the hallway, drawing fire. Sarala, bleeding but fierce, grabbed a drone with her bare hands and smashed its core against the wall, her warrior side returning. Tiro shouted, Behind you! Raylan turned just in time to blast another drone mid-air. Elias slammed the chip into the main console. All drones froze. Power cut. Silence. Everyone stood still, panting. All right, Raylan said, wiping sweat from his forehead. New rule. No more surprises, okay? Boom. The far wall exploded inward. Through smoke and fire stepped the creature. Massive, twisted, half Zoran, half human, and all wrong. Its face was stretched like it was wearing two skins at once. Its eyes, one glowing red, one deep purple, locked onto Raylan. It roared, a sound of pain, rage, and recognition. Tiro screamed. It knows you! The creature lunged. Raylan rolled, barely dodging a clawed swipe that tore a drone in half. Sarala grabbed Tiro. Go! Run to the core room. Raylan and Elias led the way, ducking into a narrow hallway. The monster gave chase, tearing through walls like paper. We're not gonna make it, Raylan shouted. Elias tossed him a strange silver rod. Press the button. Raylan clicked it. Instantly, a small energy barrier shimmered between them and the monster. It slammed into the barrier, screeching, trapped. For now. Raylan dropped to his knees, heart pounding. That won't hold for long. Elias opened the final door. The core room. Inside, we end this. The room was a circular chamber glowing with light from an energy core at its center. Holograms floated around them, data logs, voice recordings, old images. Raylan looked around. This feels like a tomb. Sarala stepped forward slowly. No, it's a confession. One of the holograms flickered. A video began. Project Lazarus, final entry, Dr. Elias Cross reporting. If you are watching this, I am dead, and my creation lives. The hologram showed Elias, older, tired, scared. We tried to create peace, a being that could live as both human and Zoran, but we gave it pain, isolation. It grew wrong. Raylan listened closely. To ensure it would never escape, I locked it here with me. I made sure only my DNA could end it, or awaken it. Raylan looked at Elias. That means... Elias nodded. Someone triggered the lab from the outside, woke it up. Sarala stepped forward, her voice dark. That wasn't an accident. Someone wanted the hybrid free. Tiro looked up. But why? Raylan turned to Elias. Who else had access to this lab? Elias hesitated. Only two people, me and Sarala. The room went cold. Raylan looked at her. Wait, what? Sarala didn't speak. Tiro stared. Mama? Raylan stepped back, hurt in his eyes. Did you bring me here on purpose? Sarala looked away. I didn't know it was awake. I only knew, if it was still alive, we needed to stop it. For good. Raylan's voice cracked. You used your son. You used me. I protected my child, she said, and I chose to trust you. Before Raylan could respond, the energy field outside collapsed. The creature stormed in. This time it wasn't angry. It was talking. Its voice echoed like static. "Father!" Raylan stared. "I'm not your cross," it hissed. "You abandoned me." The hybrid lunged at Elias. Raylan fired, distracting it just long enough. The room shook. The core began overloading. Elias shouted, "There's only one way to stop it now. We have to destroy the core." Raylan cursed. "That'll kill everyone in here." "Not if someone stays behind to activate it manually," Elias said. Sarala stepped forward. Raylan stopped her. "No, you're not dying today." She stared into his eyes. "Neither are you. Tiro needs you." Tiro shouted, "No, don't leave me too." Elias moved toward the core. "It's my creation, my mistake, I'll fix it." The hybrid roared again, claws raised. Elias turned to Raylan. "Take them, run!" The blast from the core began to build, light rising. Raylan grabbed Tiro, pulled. Sarala close. One final look back. Elias smiled. "Tell him. I tried to be a father." Boom. The screen goes white. Silence. Only the faint sound of breathing, then the hum of emergency lights. Raylan, Sarala, and Tiro wake up in a collapsed chamber, alive. But Elias and the hybrid are gone. Truth and betrayal. Smoke filled the chamber. Raylan coughed as he pushed rubble off his chest. His head throbbed, ears ringing from the explosion. Somewhere nearby, a soft voice cried out, "Tiro." He scrambled up, bruised but alive. "Tiro!" A small hand shot out from under a beam. Raylan rushed over, lifting the metal with all his strength. Tiro gasped for air. I'm okay." Raylan hugged him tight. "You're tougher than you look, kid." Behind them, Sarala sat against a wall, blood dripping from her forehead. Her eyes were open but distant. He stayed behind. Raylan looked down. "Elias bought us time. Let's not waste it." They helped each other out of the damaged core room. The hallway outside was silent now. The monster, gone. The threat, contained. At least, that's what they thought. As they walked through the wreckage of the lab, emergency lights flickered. Something about the silence didn't feel right. "Why aren't we getting picked up on scanners?" Raylan asked, tapping his device. "Shouldn't the Earth Alliance have responded to the explosion?" Sarala narrowed her eyes. "Unless they were never coming." They reached the surface elevator. It still worked, barely. As it hummed and groaned its way up, Tiro asked the question that was on everyone's mind. "Now what?" Raylan didn't answer, because he didn't know. When they reached the surface, the ruins of Viridian 5 were glowing under a red-orange sky. But something had changed. There were ships in the sky, not human, not Zoran, something in between. Raylan froze. "Who the hell are they?" Sarala's face darkened. "I was afraid of this." She turned to Raylan. There was a third group, unknown even to most Zorans. Rogue scientists, ex-military. They believed in Lazarus. They wanted to finish it. In secret. Raylan stared at her. "You mean this entire time, someone's been building more hybrids?" Sarala nodded. Elias was just the first to stop them, but he was only a crack in the dam. Tiro looked up. "Are they here for us?" Raylan looked at the descending ship. "They're not here for tea and hugs, that's for sure." The ship landed with a deep thud, dust kicking up. A group of armored figures stepped out, tall, masked, glowing implants on their arms and necks. Not quite human, not quite alien. Leading them was a woman in sleek armor. Her face was scarred, one eye cybernetic. She walked like someone who'd seen 1,000 wars and wanted one more. "Raylan Cross," she said, her voice sharp like broken glass. "I've been looking for you." Raylan raised his blaster. "You found me, congrats," she smirked. "Stand down, we're not here to kill you." "Forgive me if I don't believe the people who just built a murder monster underground," he said. She stepped closer. I'm Commander Alira Kyle, and you, Captain, are the key to everything. Sarala stepped forward. You're one of them. The Lazarus Circle. Alira gave her a sideways look. Still dramatic, Sarala. You haven't changed. Raylan frowned. Wait, you know her? Sarala didn't answer. Alira grinned. Oh, she didn't tell you? She used to be one of us. A true believer. Raylan's eyes narrowed. What is she talking about? Sarala looked down, ashamed. I was desperate. After Elias died, they promised to protect Tiro. I thought I could stop them from the inside. I was wrong. Raylan backed away. You lied to me. Again. Tiro looked heartbroken. Mama? Alira stepped forward. She's not the only one hiding secrets, Cross. Did she tell you why we really wanted you on this planet? Raylan tightened his grip on his blaster. Try me. Alira tossed him a data chip. That's your DNA file. You're not just Elias's relative or a lucky coincidence. You are Project Lazarus. Raylan's blood ran cold. What? You were born in this lab. Grown. Conditioned. Planted in the Earth Alliance with fake memories. You're our success story, Raylan. You're the perfect hybrid. Raylan stepped back, shaking his head. No, that's not true. I'm human. Mostly, Alira said. But your body heals faster. Your brain reacts quicker. And when the time comes, your loyalty can be rewritten. Raylan turned to Sarala. Did you know? She looked sick. No, I swear. I knew. You were special. But I didn't know this. Tiro whispered. Are you like the monster? Raylan dropped to his knees, stunned. I don't know what I am. Alira raised her hand. Come with us, Raylan. Help us finish what Elias started. Not the killing, the future. Raylan stood slowly, confused, broken, but defiant. I'm not your weapon, and I'm not your soldier. Alira raised an eyebrow. Then you leave us no choice. Her troops lifted their weapons. Raylan shoved Tiro and Sarala behind a rock. Get to the shuttle, he shouted. A shootout erupted, blaster fire cutting the air. Raylan fought with wild precision, reflexes he never trained for guiding his hand. He moved like a ghost, faster than any human. Sarala watched, horrified. He is one of them, Tiro shouted. But he's our one of them. The trio barely escaped into the wreckage. Alira's troops held their fire as she gave a cold smile. Let him run, he'll come back, they always do. Later that night, in a ruined shelter, Raylan sat alone, staring at his reflection in a broken screen. Was he human? Was he a weapon? Was anything about him real? Sarala walked over, silent. You should hate me, she said softly. I probably should, he replied. But right now, I just hate not knowing who I am. She sat beside him. Maybe it's not about what they made you. Maybe it's about what you choose now. Raylan looked over at Tiro, sleeping quietly. I'm choosing him, he said, even if the rest of the galaxy burns. From the shadows, a drone watched, recording, transmitting. Far away, Alira watched the footage. She smiled. Good, let him bond, let him believe. Because when the time comes, he'll tear them apart from the inside. The rescue mission. The night on Viridian 5 was colder than usual. Raylan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw it. The monster's face, his own face inside the cryopod, the voice calling him Father, and Alira's words echoing in his head. You are Project Lazarus, you are ours. He stared at the fire, hands shaking slightly. His body felt different now, stronger, sharper, too sharp. Every sense was on high alert. Even silence felt too loud. Behind him, Sarala sat watching him. You haven't said a word in hours, she said softly. Raylan didn't look at her. Because I don't know if I'm me anymore, or just a weapon with memories. Sarala walked over and sat beside him. Weapons don't stay up at night because they're afraid of hurting someone. That's something only people do. He looked at her. Then why do I feel like there's something inside me, waiting to wake up? Before she could answer, a blip sounded from his scanner. Raylan snapped to his feet. One signal. Human. Alive. Moving fast, he zoomed in. It's Tiro. Sarala looked confused. He's sleeping in the shuttle. They ran back. The hatch was open. The bed was empty. A note was left behind, written in shaky, innocent handwriting. I want to fix it. I want to help Dad. I'm going to give myself up. Raylan's heart dropped. Sarala grabbed her mouth, eyes wide with horror. No! Raylan grabbed his blaster. He went to them. Somewhere in the wasteland, Tiro stood with shaking legs in front of Alira's forces. A small white flag waved in his hand, like he'd seen in old human cartoons. The soldiers looked at him, confused. Tiro's voice cracked. If you stop chasing them, I'll go with you. Just don't hurt my mom or Raylan. Alira stepped forward slowly. Such a brave little hybrid. He blinked. I'm not a hybrid. She crouched to his level, smiling coldly. Aren't you? Your mother's Zoran. Your father was Elias Cross, which means you're exactly what we need. Tiro's face fell. No, I came to save them, not help you. Alira stood up. Oh, but you already have. She snapped her fingers. A scanner drone flew up behind Tiro, scanning his DNA. Confirmed. Cross-bloodline match. Access level. Alpha. Her eyes gleamed. With him, we don't need Raylan anymore. She turned to her men. Bring him aboard. Back in the ruins, Raylan and Sarala sprinted through the broken landscape, dodging debris, climbing over collapsed buildings. Raylan followed the tracker in his arm, a recent gift from Elias, meant to locate his son if he ever got lost. Raylan clenched his jaw. I told him to stay close. I told him, he's a child, Sarala said, running beside him. He wanted to protect you the only way he knew how. Raylan stopped, looking at the flashing dot. Tiro's inside their ship. Sarala whispered, then we get him out. Raylan looked at her. You still in this? She nodded. To the end. The rescue mission begins. Night fell again as they crept toward Alira's base. A large black ship docked between two cliffs surrounded by guards and security drones. Raylan scanned the area. They upgraded, we can't walk in. Sarala pointed to a side tunnel. Old mining shaft. Might lead to the underside of the ship. Raylan raised an eyebrow. That's a big might, she smirked. You like risky plans, don't you? I'm starting to hate them. They snuck into the tunnel, weapons drawn. Inside it was dark, tight, and smelled like rust and regret. Halfway through, Raylan paused, his vision blurred, his body tensed. Voices whispered in his mind. Awaken. You are not human. You belong to us. He gritted his teeth, fighting it. Raylan, Sarala whispered, touching his arm. He blinked. The voices stopped. I'm fine, he lied. They reached a vent under the ship. Raylan boosted Sarala up, then climbed after her. Inside the ship's lower deck, alarms were low. The place was quiet. Too quiet. Raylan held up his hand. Split up. I'll find Tiro. You take the engine core, set a charge. If things go wrong, Sarala nodded. Boom. Raylan moved like a shadow. Every step felt familiar, as if his body remembered this place, because it did. He reached a control room and peeked in. There he was, Tiro, asleep in a pod, monitors scanning his body, guards nearby. Raylan tapped into his instincts, moved fast, silent, precise. 2 guards down, no alarm. He reached the pod and pressed the release. Tiro blinked awake. Dad? Raylan smiled softly. Hey buddy, let's go home. But then a loud metallic crash. Alira stepped in, eyes cold. You don't get to walk away. Raylan pulled Tiro behind him. You'll have to go through me. She smirked. That was the plan. She raised a device and pressed a button. Suddenly, Raylan screamed, his body locking up. His eyes turned bright white. Tiro cried out, Stop, you're hurting him. Alira said calmly. He's not hurting, he's remembering. Inside Raylan's mind, flashes, labs, needles, training, combat, death. Raylan saw himself from above, saw men in white coats, heard commands. Target, eliminate, reset. He saw Elias. He must never know what he is. He saw Sarala. Let the Zoran commander form a bond. Let it be real. He screamed, and then he woke up. Final showdown. Right for now, Raylan stood up slowly. Alira smiled, thinking he was under control, until he said, "Thanks for the memories." And punched her across the room. She crashed into a console. Tiro shouted, "That's my dad!" Raylan turned to him. "Run! To the shuttle, now!" Tiro took off. Raylan faced Alira. "We're done." She wiped blood from her lip. "No, Cross. We're just beginning." She activated her suit. Blades extended from her arms. They fought. It was brutal. Blasters, fists, blade versus bone. Raylan won. Barely. He limped to the shuttle with Sarala and Tiro already inside. She'd done her part. The engine core was glowing hot. As they flew away, the ship behind them exploded in a cloud of fire and smoke. Raylan slumped in the pilot seat. Tiro looked up. "Are we safe now?" Raylan looked out at the burning wreck. "No. But we're together," Sarala added, "and that's stronger than any weapon." Meanwhile, in deep space a signal beeped on a black screen. A new voice answered. Male. Calm. Too calm. "Initiate Protocol Lazarus-02. The prototype has awakened. Let the real test begin." Home among the stars. The stars never looked so empty. Raylan sat, alone in the cockpit of their stolen shuttle, eyes fixed on the endless void. His body ached from the fight with Alira, but his mind was heavier. Behind him, Sarala was tending to Tiro's wounds. Nothing serious, just bruises and scratches. The kid was tougher than steel wrapped in hope. Raylan gripped the controls tighter. The ship hummed softly, whispering through space. Every beep, every flicker of a light made his muscles tense. He wasn't just a man anymore. Not just human. Not entirely machine either. He was a question with a pulse. And they were being followed. Tiro's revelation. As Sarala wrapped Tiro's arm, the boy looked up at her. "Do you think he's still my dad?" She froze, eyes watering. "He's more than that," she whispered. "He chose you. That makes him more than blood." Tiro's voice cracked. "What if they turn him into a monster again?" "He'll fight it," she said. "For you." Raylan overheard them from the cockpit. He didn't say anything, but his hands were shaking. He was scared. Of himself. Incoming transmission. Suddenly the console lit up. A signal. Encrypted. High frequency. Raylan narrowed his eyes. The message was from a hidden Earth Alliance outpost. Captain Raylan Cross. You are ordered to dock at Station K9 for debriefing and containment. You are classified as a biological anomaly under Directive 0. Sarala read it over his shoulder. Containment? They're not rescuing you, they're going to lock you up. Raylan scoffed. Figures. I save a kid and destroy a rogue army and I get treated like a lab rat. He turned to Sarala. We're not going. She frowned. Then where are we going? Raylan looked at Tiro. Home. Attack from the shadows just then. An energy blast rocked the ship. Raylan grabbed the controls. We've got company. Behind them, a massive stealth ship uncloaked, sleek, black, fast. Not Earth Alliance. Not Zoran. Lazarus Protocol 02. Sarala shouted. They weren't bluffing. The real program survived. Raylan cursed. And they sent their new toy. On the scanner, a small figure was launched from the ship. A drop pod speeding toward them like a bullet. Raylan narrowed his eyes. That's not a missile. The pod crashed into the cargo bay. Tiro screamed. They're inside. Raylan and Sarala grabbed their weapons. They opened the hatch. Standing inside the bay was another hybrid. Taller, sleeker, armored like a soldier and smiling like a ghost. Hello, brother, it said. Raylan blinked. I'm an only child. Thanks, the figure bowed. I am Unit 02. I was built after you. Improved, loyal. Raylan raised his blaster. You've got 5 seconds to leave. Why would I leave? Unit 02 asked calmly. I came to bring you home. Newsflash. Raylan said, this is home. Unit 02 lunged. Final fight, brother versus brother. The shuttle shook as the hybrids clashed, fist against metal, instinct versus programming. Unit 02 was faster, deadlier, cold as ice. But Raylan had something the other didn't, a reason to fight. Tiro watched from the hallway, terrified. Sarala stood in front of him, blaster raised. Inside the bay, Raylan was losing ground. Unit 02 slammed him into a wall. You were the first, it hissed. The prototype. You feel pain, emotion, weakness. Raylan coughed blood. Yeah? Well, guess what? He hit a button on his wrist. Boom. The bay vented, air whooshing. Both hybrids flew back. Raylan held onto the rail, barely gripping it. Unit 02 floated, grabbing the edge. Raylan reached out his hand. Let me help you, he said, breathing hard. Unit 02 stared at him, confused, curious. Then, he reached for Raylan's hand and whispered, You were always defective. He activated a hidden blade, aimed for Raylan's chest. But Raylan pulled first. Let go. Unit 02 flew into space, eyes wide, silently screaming. Gone. Aftermath. The hard choice back inside, the alarms were still blaring. Sarala patched Raylan's wounds. He was pale but alive. Tiro held his hand tightly. You're okay. You're still you. Raylan smiled weakly. Yeah, still me. Mostly. The console beeped again. Earth Alliance ships were closing in. Sarala looked at Raylan. They'll never stop chasing you. Raylan nodded. Then I stopped running. He walked to the console and opened a private channel. Earth Command, this is Captain Raylan Cross. I'm not coming in. I'm taking the kid, the mother. We're not test subjects. We're a family. You want to hunt me? Fine. But I'll make sure the galaxy hears the truth about Lazarus, about what you did. The channel cut. Static. Sarala stared at him. That was suicide. Raylan grinned. Nah. That was a declaration of independence. Epilogue. A new beginning, 1 month later. A small planet at the edge of known space. Green fields, blue skies, peace. Raylan, Sarala, and Tiro walked. Through the tall grass, a tiny home sat nearby, basic but real. Tiro ran ahead, laughing. Sarala smiled. He's healing. Raylan nodded. We all are. She turned to him. Do you still hear it? The programming? The voices? Raylan looked up at the stars. Sometimes, but it's quiet now. Like, they've given up. She stepped closer. You never married me? He chuckled. Technically, we were busy escaping evil space cults. Well, she said, maybe it's time. Tiro shouted from a hilltop, waving. Hey, come on, Dad. Mom, it's dinner. Raylan turned to her. I could get used to that. He took her hand. They walked into the sunlight, leaving the war behind. But up above, in orbit, a tiny drone blinked red and sent one final message. Lazarus Protocol, dormant, awaiting next activation.